Hi guys, this is Mubarak Talks Daily as usual. So today we'll discuss about some. We'll continue our podcast as usual. So today's topic is podcast, and we try to give some feedback about how to learn English by listening, exactly by the podcast. So, and we'll look at all the aspects of podcasts and other things, how to learn by podcasts and other stuff. So, and today's guest, as usual, our the best speaker, Amanda Lekranov. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm not guest. I'm co-host.
Yeah, co-host.
I'm
sorry,
not the
sorry.
guest.
Yeah.
Okay. Today's topic is a podcast. Okay. How we can learn English through podcast by listening. So the previous episodes of Work Taxi, we discussed about how to learn English with audiobooks and books. Today's podcast. So, what kind of podcast do you listen to every single day? What is your favorite podcast?
When I started learn English, so I listened YouTube videos. I mean,
Okay.
I clicked the YouTube and I found some videos which I like, for example, about my favorite topic, about my favorite topic, a lot of hobbies is or other topics. So I copied the link and I sent it to the Telegram bot and I make an audio version of it and I try to listen while walking or on my way to home. So the first thing that I learned is YouTube videos. I listen to YouTube videos as a podcast.
Okay.
Because why did I do it? Because when I search some podcasts, they are hard to understand for me.
Okay.
They are level, for example, Joe Rogan Experience is the best one. But when I started learning English, approximately I was an A1 or A2 B1 student, but I cannot understand the situation there, what they're talking about. So I feel overwhelming about that, and I changed my mind to listen the videos as a podcast. And then I started BBC Learning English, the 6 Minute English, and other podcasts related to BBC English. So and then all ears English, I like it. I listen it a lot. And after that, I mean, these days I have been listening to sometimes Joe Rogan, Dr. Huberman, and the Lex Fridman about politics. At these days, when I reach the level that I want, I'm trying to listen. The topic is what I like. For example, about politics, about how to learn a language, or about linguistics, about other topics, about psychology in some cases, like a Jay Shetty or other. But first, I started with the YouTube videos as a podcast. Sometimes I watch it, on the stand-up comedies, Trevor Noah or other stuff, while doing some stuff. So, what do you think about podcasts? What kind of podcasts do you listen?
Yeah, okay. My favorite, all-time favorite podcast would be Joe Rogan Experience, because what I like Joe Rogan Experience is, first of all, is freedom of speech, and second of all, I get a lot of insights from Joe Rogan Experience. And the Joe Rogan is a stand-up comedian. He cracks a lot of jokes, and it helps him to improve my overall general English as well too. I try to understand the jokes. But if you want to learn English by through podcasts, okay, you have to find exactly what you love. Exactly. Well, for example, you mentioned before that when you are in A2 or B1 level, you have to you found your interest, and you found some videos on YouTube, did the words in the MP3 format, and then try to listen. It's the best way to learn English, I think, when you are elementary level. And then they have type of podcast when you're trying to listen. For example, audiobooks, first of all, and second of all, will be by British Council, I think. By British Council, I think, is elementary podcast. So there is an elementary podcast for elementary students with script. It's the perfect way if you want to learn English. It's just a perfect way. And second would be if you finish the 4 seasons of elementary podcast by British Council, and then you have to move to BBC, like 6 Minutes English. This is one of the best way, but you have to like it. Otherwise, you will not improve your listening skills. But in general, people, they don't listen to podcasts in order to improve English. No, they don't really do it. They listen to podcasts because interesting for the person, because interesting for the student. So that's why. After 6 months English, you can get a lot of different kind of topics. For example, you told me like politics and psychology is the best one. Like these fields are very interesting, very accelerating for you. But for another person, it can be a different kind of podcast. For example, me, I try to listen to Joe Rogan Experience because he invites a lot of celebrities, a lot of comedians, from a lot of famous people. I really want to get into this podcast and try their point of view, like different kind of way. Because people come to Joe Rogan Experience podcast like different walks of life. It's great. It's a great way to get some insights. And also I do, if one listeners are listening to us to get some tips or advice, what kind of podcast. Very great podcast about daily life situations is, and then they brought everything, I guess. Stuff you should know. Stuff you should know is one of the best podcasts ever because it's about everything. Like, for example, if there's two friends that talked about Chuck and somebody. They talk about everything. If they talked about like Coca-Cola or, for example, hot dog or pizza, they talk about the origin of it, or when it started, and everything. They talk about everything, the history behind it. And second, for example, you're not you don't like listening to like a British accent podcast. I really recommend if you're elementary level. ECL podcast, exactly. ECL podcast, one of the great teachers from California. Yes, ECL podcast is English as second language podcast. It's really great. You can look up on Telegram as well too, on YouTube as well too. But the most important thing is what you're listening should be interesting for you. Not you don't listen to podcasts to improve your English. I really want to highlight this point one more time, point out this point one more time. You don't listen to podcasts to improve your English. You listen to podcasts because interesting. And then automatically you improve your listening in natural way. Yes, there's one other thing. And one day I was browsing the web. I came across was success story of one of the students, and who prepared for IELTS in Tashkent without any teacher, and it got 8.5. This guy is told me that how I got 8.5, like 9 in listening, for example. He told me that he was really into Friends situation comedy, and he diverted the like sitcom into MP3 format and then listened every single day. So if you are like this driven person, if you're so driven to make your dreams come true, to speak naturally, to have a advanced knowledge of English, so there's a lot of ways. You can create your own way to improve your listening skills or to choose your favorite podcast. For me, as you know, Joe Rogan Experience is the best. He's the best. Not because of just to get a lot of more insights, it's because of American accent. When I listen to more Joe Rogan podcasts, I correct my pronunciation. It's really kind of I'm talking. I'm there. I'm talking with them. It's really cool.
Yeah, and we talk about why how we choose the podcast to listen. And I remember one thing that I want to mention is I choose a podcast to listen because of the way the speaker pronounce the words. I like the pronunciation and the soft voice of that speaker. So in some cases, they have a lot of reasons to listen to podcasts, but in some cases, idea is interesting, topic is interesting. So sometimes I read the title of the podcast and it catches my attention without the second thought. So I have to watch it. I think that I gotta watch it after doing something. So sure. And I have a question. So we have to choose the right podcast to listen.
Exactly, according to your level. It will be
Yes.
boring for you. It will really, really boring for you.
Okay.
That
If we choose the right podcast, I mean, right topic, right podcast, right speaker to listen, but what do you think about taking notes while listening to? I mean, or about scripts? How can we deal with the scripts? And should we write something while listening? Taking notes.
taking notes is a very great skill. If the topic is very interesting for you, you'll take notes.
Uh,
You'll automatically take notes. You take notes. I think the best way to listen to podcasts, you should be interested in this topic, and you will start taking notes. You will try to find the script of the podcast. You will do whatever you want to make your own ego pleased. So I think
yeah, sure. So, do you have any question already?
no. For today, I think this is the best topic. I think for you guys, 1 hour like wrap up the quote for you guys is just find your passion. Find what you're passionate about and try to listen to this about your passion in English. That I think that's it. Thank you very much, guys, for listening to Work Talks Daily. See you next episode. Bye.
Okay, bye, guys.